everyone, and welcome to this Mindful Moment segment here on Good Morning Sunshine. I'm one of the co-hosts, Brandon Lee. On the show on this episode today is Shante Saulsberry. She is the founder of Janice's Women's Center, and it's really a center, Shante, that really focuses on helping women and helping others who've experienced domestic violence. And I just want to start off with a few statistics here because they're really mind-blowing. Every single minute, there is an act of domestic violence, and 1 in 5 people will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Those are huge, huge numbers, especially when you break it down to every single minute. For more perspective, this segment will run about 7 or 8 minutes. In those 7 to 8 minutes, 7 and 8 people will experience domestic violence.
Yes.
Do we talk about this enough?
We don't. Domestic violence is one of those situations where it is swept under the rug. I always tell my ladies, come out of the darkness. Allow me to be able to help you. It's
There's
okay.
so much shame, though.
There's so much shame behind it because there's not enough support in it. And of course, there's not enough resources provided for it. So a lot of times it's better to just stay in the darkness.
Through a lot of the women I've spoken to who are survivors, I never call them victims of domestic violence. They're survivors of domestic violence. And the men in those situations will rule them via the pocketbook.
Yep.
And they will sit there and go, well, you can't leave. How are you going to keep a roof over your head if I'm controlling all the money?
Yep.
And I control those things. That's how they're able to keep them in the house.
Yep.
Because the mom, and many times they have children.
Yep.
And the moms are like, gosh, if we leave, we're going to live on the street with my child. How is that responsible?
Yep.
What do you tell the women in those situations?
I got you. I got you. And so, of course, I have some of the most amazing partners. And my biggest thing is I never want to see a child in a shelter. And so my outreach here in Arizona is ridiculous. The amount of people that I connect with just to make sure a child is not in a shelter.
I have to ask you your why. Your former career in family law. You were telling me you were a stenographer at one point.
Yep.
What led you into finding and discovering what your life's purpose is here?
Wow, purpose. I talk about that all the time.
What is your purpose? What helped you create Janice's Women's Center? Your name is Shante, so it's not Shantae's Women's Center, it is Janice's.
I stumbled into purpose. So I was actually healing from 6 blood clots. I had just moved to Arizona right before the whole world shut down with COVID. And I was getting back into work, which what led me into family law. And I met a homeless woman on the streets of Ahwatukee. And I was like, you know what? Moving from Miami, I used to get breakfast at Chick-fil-A all the time. I'm gonna get this lady breakfast. And I did. I stopped, I got her breakfast. And she said, are you famous? And I said, no. And she was like, well, how do I find you? I said, you don't find me, I find you. And so she asked me right before I left, she said, can you get me a magazine? Now the homeless, they don't usually ask for reading material. And so I said, you know what?
So we think. I have a story about that. Yeah. I was blown away recently doing outreach with the homeless.
Oh my goodness.
And the public library was involved. So remind me to come back on that.
That is one that you want to help. When they ask you for things that's out of the ordinary, help that one. And so I did. And I drove around with this magazine for about a month. Now, my mom, she used to be homeless. She used to sleep on the street. She used to sleep in a tent. I lost my mom to society. She's not dead. But I lost her because she chose drugs and alcohol over me. And so when I reached out to her and I said, I met this homeless woman, but I don't know where she's at. And she was like, well, maybe she was just an angel. And I was like, well, that stinks because somebody owes me for this magazine. And so literally a month went by and I seen her. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get her this food and I gotta get this magazine. So I stuck $1 in the magazine, like deep in the magazine, make sure she read it. And I wrote on it, everything's gonna be up from here. So I don't know if she read it, I don't know, but I got her food. And she said it to me again. She said, Shante. And I was like, yeah. She was like, can you help me get into an all-women shelter? I said, yeah. That was the second amazing thing that she asked for. And so, of course, like I said, the world shut down. It was during COVID. I reached out to most of the organizations here. I wrote letters to churches. 7 months, I got no response until literally I got one. And that was like October, November of 2020. And literally the sweetest lady ever. And she said, Shante, I got your letter. And I understand you just moved here. And because of that, I want to help you. But the lady, she didn't want to go to that shelter. And so after just experiencing everything and how the organizations failed me in trying to help her, in return failed her. So I said, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up my own shelter, and I'm going to name it after the woman that I had tried to help. And her name was Janice.
The success of Janice's Women's Center, I know it's fairly new.
It is.
It's still fairly new in its inception. What would you like the public, anybody who's watching, what would you like them to learn about Janice's, how they can help if they're saying, gosh, is there any role that I can play? What can they do?
You can learn about Janice's Women's Center all over social media. Shante Saulsberry, Janice's Women's Center. I also have a boutique, which I opened. It's also named after the homeless woman. She loved the way I dressed. She would always say, Shante, I love your outfit. So since I opened during COVID, I needed something that would help me to be able to raise more money for the programs. And so opening the boutique and naming it after her, everyone thinks it's Janice Van Cree Boutique. They think that's her last name, but it's actually French for overcome. That's exactly what I wanted her to do. And so just running both of those businesses, a lot of people get involved. They want to volunteer. So you volunteer in the boutique. Everything in the boutique is donated by celebrities. That kind of helps. It definitely does. They want to give back in a way that helps the ladies to not just receive trash, I want to say.
Yeah.
And that is huge. When I first started, I got a lot of donations and the clothes were dirty. They were ripped, stains all over them. You can totally tell people just kind of cleaned out their garage basically.
Not in their closet.
Yeah, it was definitely their garage.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. I would rather just buy everything if that's what I was going to receive, because the ladies are hurting and they don't want to feel like they're just like they're trash. Exactly. Yeah. And so the celebrities got involved. So don't worry, I'll take care of that part. And so they get the first pick, but the community comes out, they shop at the boutique, and all the funds go back to support the programs. And so definitely coming out to shop. It's in Ahwatukee again, Janice Van Cree Boutique. So volunteers definitely need it. We need those that come and they stay, because remembering that these ladies are victims of domestic violence. People come into their lives and leave all the time. So I definitely need volunteers that really want to be there, really want to help and give that hand up. Of course, donors, always in need of that. As a small nonprofit, I also don't take federal funding. And so I am always looking for support in that area. And so, just donations, being a part of as many events as possible, and even throwing your own. So, the support is definitely in need right now.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you and the success,
Thank you.
and really trying to create something where there was a big need, and there is a big need. And just, I always say, just looking at somebody and seeing them as a human, and not seeing them as somebody less than, but seeing them equal to, and saying, instead of looking at them saying, why are you doing this? Going, what happened to you and how can I help? In that healing journey. Shante Saulsberry, Janice Women's Center, congratulations.
Thank you.
Really kudos to you.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for watching this Mindful Moment segment right here on Good Morning Sunshine.